The Awakened Ones, Their Mission Part 3. Ruben Garcia. And the recruitment of the 144,000 saints. And I heard the number of those were sealed, 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Revelation 7:4, KJV. And I looked, and, lo, a Lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. Revelation 14:1, KJV. As I shared with you in Part 2, the announcement of God's chosen ones, in this article I am going to share with you from where, when, and how the 144,000 saints described in the book of Revelation will come from and their spiritual constitution. The Bechiraels, or God's chosen ones, as we have learned about their significant roles in humanity's existence and ascension, are the faithful builders of the desired true relationship between God and man. We, humanity, have been hindered by false doctrines for almost 2 millennia. Those were days of both spiritual and emotional perils for humanity. But all this changed one day in December 1981 when the awakening of his chosen ones and they began to hear the sound of the shofar announcing the much-awaited gathering. The faithful that heard the calling were few indeed in 1981, but by 1987, the shofar sounded again and a larger number became awakened, and by December 21, 2012, the shofar sounded for the third time with a very loud and enduring blast, finally bringing the last of the chosen ones into the gathering. Ever since then, the much-awaited call of humanity's spiritual ascension has been going on. The faithful chosen ones waited for this moment for what was to be an existence on earth of endless lives and transitional reincarnations in what has been made known to be today as spiritual dark ages. Originally, by agreement, none of the chosen ones had any knowledge that they were members of an elite divine order chosen by God, Father, for a mission on this planet, Earth, and were bearers of a divine mandate. They were oblivious they were to be builders on earth upon which a new concept of what God truly is and how vast his domain is. But the most significant aspect of their earthly mission is bringing down the wall of misconception that has hindered mankind's divine nature. They are here to claim that divine right given to mankind from the onset of his existence, and the authority to establish the truthful universal supremacy of the Supreme Creator, God, and Father, as is conducted throughout the galaxies. And for the dogmas of the last 2,000 years that rejected the truth and convinced humanity to accept their views of a greedy deception to be imposed through false truths and dishonesty. Consequently, from this awakening of the Bechiraels, a new revised version or revelation has begun to work through a phase of conscience awareness. These revelations are taking place in all aspects of humanity's lives by the chosen ones. But to understand their current role and mission, we must first search in the past of the why now. As declared earlier, a small number heard the call of shofar in December 1981, they were identified as being old souls awakening, and by December 1987, the group grew in large numbers of volunteers encompassing volunteers from all realms of the galaxy and adjacent ones, and by December 21, 2012, the groups had grown exponentially and were in various stages of their tasks awaiting them. It was a period of emotional awareness. They, the awakened ones, were scattered throughout the whole planet. For some not completely aware of their awakened disposition for reasons known only to each individual provided a sense of uncertainty, therefore it was observed that the awakening of some of them became distorted and sought to disregard the awakening call. On the contrary, the more spiritually secured ones continued strengthening their spirituality by slowly releasing inadvertent doubts, perspectives driven by fears or anxieties which easily backstep the individual to a lesser spiritual realm. For those that sensed the evolving spirituality and conscience began strengthening their spiritual awareness with each passing day, their conscience began to align with the divine scope of certainty, ensuring the individual would rise higher in not only awareness energy but also an inward spirituality. The spiritually awakened ones, as they were known in 1997 in some surroundings, began their divine call to initiate a spiritual movement in bringing humanity into an ascended stage of consciousness, providing spiritual reassurances and steps to reach a level in which humanity could foster a new view of God. These spiritually awakened ones would become the chosen ones for this specific time and for a divine mission on earth. They consisted, and are as we speak, star seeds, light workers, light warriors, humanity's defenders, and of course a large numbers of old souls, as well as angelic realms with one sole purpose, to see through God's wishes and desires for not only a new earth but a new humanity. Subsequently, their current purpose, role, or mission is to spearhead a transformation of people's conscience throughout this planet and bring about a unification of such proportion that will revolutionize the planet onto a higher conscience hierarchy known as the fifth dimension, and a new earth. I can assure you that what I am sharing is not a child reading a story or a fairy tale. It is very real and is currently encompassing not only a whole new perspective who we are, humanity is, but what role we will play in this, so-called, universe for thousands of generations. Therefore, we get to answer who are God's chosen ones and the forecasted 144,000 individuals the Holy Scripture says will make their presence known to humanity after the period in which humanity must endure famines, pestilence, and natural disasters. First, are they members of the known God's chosen ones actively involved in humanity's awakening but also the 144,000 saints as the Bible denotes? Yes, absolutely, the current chosen ones are actively involved in the dissemination of conscience spirituality toward all mankind. It comes in various processes but the determinant of each one of their efforts is dependent on each human. This is because of the free will that separates mankind from any other galactic creature. The success of all divine aspects of humanity's successful ascension depends on you, your view of God, and whether you believe in His intervention on this earth. Now, as for the existence of the 144,000 saints, the answer is no. Not yet. First, humanity must, in its own accord, seek to change their attitude toward God, and most important, among each other. The word of success is unity, and if you observe not only in our nation but around the world that it is a very strange word. It is absent from our daily vocabulary. However, I can share this with you today. Yes, the presence of the 144,000 saints will become a reality if we fail to unite before the dreaded day of the Lord. I wish they would not, but that is the choice we have available if separation is dominant in our lives. Their recruitment, or gathering, is to take place at a later period after experiencing a horrific era known as the Great Affliction, and it must be understood that before they are made known to humanity, much has to be accomplished by the awakened God's chosen ones. Is there a hierarchy within the awakened ones, just as it has been made known to humanity, regarding the elements of angels, cherubims, seraphims, and archangels? For starters, yes. But it is not as you have learned to view the angelic realm. Remember, the awakened ones were chosen for a specific task for this present time. In fact, every awakened one has a personal task to accomplish at an entry level. Consider it as spiritual training phase. Initially, the awakened individual on the earth is allowed to experience an inner inquisitiveness that must be satisfied. Then, it follows, with more complex inner spirituality on a daily basis, seeking further illumination. This process is actively provided for every individual to accept or not. The choice is depending on each individual's level of spiritual intuition. The more the individual ascends in conscience awareness, the more he or she becomes more separated from others. This process can cause emotional disequilibrium among loved ones. However, persisting in seeking the ideal unity between God and you in such a high level of devotion offers the promised ascension, not only in conscience, but also in a promised new earth, and that is where humanity finds itself as we speak. Whether we become citizens of a peaceful and united new earth, or we continue an existence on an old earth filled with all sorts of misgivings, malicious ideologies, fears, and death we have lived from over thousands of years. Therefore, the awakened chosen ones have specialized missions, and in some cases a duality of efforts are used to depict a process or a principle to humanity. For example, the need to convey forgiveness, because this is one of the critical principles mankind must learn to exercise to ascend. Simply, one of the principles they must aid humanity with is the understanding that God's essence is that he conveys and possess nothing but unconditional love, and it is manifested throughout the realm of the galaxies, in opposite to his essence. Therefore the divine essence of mankind is to forgive. And this happened to be also the core of Yeshua, Jesus' ministry. Subsequently, you have, as we speak, an echelon of awakened ones with the sole purpose to assist humanity to begin considering a change of emotional venue toward a positive view of his existence, in which will raise the human being conscience to a higher level. The second echelon of awakened ones constitutes the Bechiraels, the chosen ones. These are the ones with a very distinctive mission. They are tasked with ensuring that humanity is able to perceive the grandiose love God is in their lives. Within each one of them is the divine essence of God, love. In some ways this principle brings God's chosen ones to be one of a celestial high order, or as they have been known, masters. In some other instances, chosen ones, they are viewed as angelic beings in physical format, chosen to be here at this time and assist humanity in its ascension. Thus, the answer to the question, who are these awakened ones? They are God's chosen ones, or Bechiraels. Their divine hierarchy is made of three groups: the chosen ones, the masters, known as the light workers, and the divine ones. From the angelic realm, and the witnesses, all who render complete obedience to God, the Father, at the onset of the earth existence. They were among a large number of volunteers to be here on this planet, Earth, to be made available when God, Supreme Creator, chose to utilize them, so to speak. Originally, known as simply volunteers, 4 billion to be exact, from which God chose from them a portion to be here at this time. They are of an upright and a spiritual stand, righteous in every aspect of their existence, but most important, they were not only faithful to God but beings that understood very well the nature of God, and that would be an essential ingredient in the day humanity would urgently needed to not only understand who and what God, the Magnificent One, truly is, but also a great Creator, especially for humanity needing to know and understand that they are His greatest creation. A Creator that created them but also loved them immensely, the God of unconditional love. Therefore, the question that remains is, how would you know that you are unconsciously being called or viewed as an awakened one? The answer is in how you view all that you are seeing, experiencing, and of course, how it all affects you and how a peace surrounds you, whereas others are filled with emotional imbalances or misgivings. The awakened ones are in a divine reclusive world, so to speak. Yes, they are aware of all that is going on, however their task is not to interfere, as you are noticing by now. Often others are imposing their ideals and principles regardless whether they are right or just. The awakened one's role is to teach, pass, comfort, and share their divine wisdom to help individuals to view the best they are and can be from spiritual messages they receive directly from God and a divine counsel that is unknown to many today. There is no super uniqueness or meritorious divinity among the awakened ones. They are folks just like you and me. The only difference is that they uphold God's desires and wishes. In some aspect, they please God in the way they uphold truth, a love that is unconditional, and view others as equals. Many are currently being called to be ready to go into action. Some have listened, others have not. However, the fact that you are being called is the most important one. The preoccupation for earthly bound pleasures is what detains the spiritual call to awaken, because one must understand, the journey of transition or being an awakened one is not as easy as you might think, but it is very rewarding. The first step is to consider how I can make my life to be spiritual and truly recognize what future role I can share in aiding humanity to ascend onto the new earth. This is vital to all of the ones being called. Upgrade to Panopreader, the standard edition, more voices and features available, and know this audio clip.